Are you winning? Do you need help in your life or business? Could you use some inspiration, business strategies, and success principles? I'm Daniel Gomez, award-winning business coach, keynote speaker, and best-selling author. On the Daniel Gomez Inspire Show, we will help you create a successful life and elevate your business. Together, we will discover the keys that unlock your success and dreams. Welcome back to another episode of the Daniel Gomez Inspire Show, where we motivate you, we inspire you. And today, we're going to encourage you. We got an amazing encourager here on this show today. I'm excited. This gentleman is just a powerhouse and dear brother that has done amazing things, won several national championships. Hear me right, several. The one and only from Alabama. You heard me right, Alabama. Coach Kerry Stevenson. Coach, what's going on, man?
Baby, we still winning champions, baby. We still winning over champions.
I love it. I love it. Kerry, I know the amazing human being you are. I had the pleasure of meeting you here in San Antonio. You actually were one of the amazing attendees that came to the Makings of a Millionaire Man boot camp. Tell the world, who is Coach Kerry Stevenson from Alabama, baby? Let's go.
Well, Coach Kerry Stevenson, first of all, is a child of the King. And he give him credit for he gets all the praise, all the honor for everything that we've been able to accomplish. But we grew up in Alabama, played high school ball, went to the state championship. We won at every level that we've ever been in as a child. So God's just touched my life. And so we went to college at Alabama A&M University, got a degree in mathematics, okay, and pursued that degree and got a master's degree in math education. And we taught math for 20 years, and I don't know about any other teachers, but I taught for 20 years and I never went to work, man. I went to the classroom and hung out with my students all day. So we had a whole lot of success in the classroom. I was a teacher and a coach. I was a head football coach, athletic director, and as a head football coach in 10 years, we had a record of 89 and 18. Won one state championship, lost one, and then Coach Nick Saban at the University of Alabama hired me to be the director of player development, and I was put in a position to mentor young men every day that were in the best program in the country. And in the 7 years I was with Coach Saban, we went to the playoffs 7 years in a row.
Okay, so 7 years in a row.
Yes. So we created champions, man, and I'm also an author. A published author. We published a book, Inspirations in Life, inspired by faith, family, friends, and football. And that's where
and I love it. I love it. I love it. Let's do this. You said a lot of great things. You were hired by Coach Nick Saban to be the developer of the program for the football. You know, so many times in life, ladies and gentlemen, first of all, I'm gonna jump ahead of myself right here because I'm gonna tell you right now, get out your pen and get out your paper, because you know what we say here at the Daniel Gomez Inspire Show: when you write down what you listen to, what you hear, you retain over 50% of it. And Coach Kerry is he's gonna drop some massive wisdom. Amazing human being. I've had a chance to spend 2 days with him in a row, and a lot of knowledge on him. So take notes to retain the information, and then you're gonna go. I want you to go back and study it again. And Coach Kerry, let me ask you this: like program development, what do you see? Because you love the youth, man. That's what I love about you. Is when I started being a motivational speaker, I started off in junior highs and high schools, and then went to colleges, and then exploded from there. What do you see that a lot of these young men nowadays need guidance on? What are 2 or 3 things you would say, Coach?
I said, first of all, they need to know that they're loved. Yeah, they need to know that somebody cares about them. And I know that when we were growing up, Daniel, we were led with power and authority. Okay, you do what I say do, not what I do. Okay, well that doesn't work anymore. Okay, and so what we call it is leading with love, not power and authority. You got to lead with love. And what does that mean? It's so simple. It's so simple. Okay, LOVE. Okay. First of all, you got to be able to, this generation, first of all, they're brilliant, they're smart, they got access to all the information and had it all their life. Okay. So they don't need you to give them no information. They know how to get all that. They need you to listen to them. They want to be heard. Yes, that's how you start loving with this generation. You have to listen. You love with your ears. Okay. And
Mm,
while you listening, observe them. Okay. And when you listen and observe, you're gonna figure out everything they need. What all they don't tell you, they're gonna show you. Okay. And then when you get to the point where you've heard it and you've seen it, then you put a value on it in your heart. Okay. And then LOV, we said listen, observe, value, and then you express.
mm,
And expression not always in words. Okay. After you heard and observed, they might not need anything but a hug. Okay.
mm.
So you express it in words and in deeds. Okay. And I know that everybody want to teach conflict resolution. Okay. Well, in order before you can teach conflict resolution, you got to build a relationship and you got to build it on love.
Yes, man, baby. I told you, ladies and gentlemen, you're gonna have us at the edge of our seats today, Coach Kerry. I love it. I mean, think about what he's saying, ladies and gentlemen. They didn't go to the national championship dance 7 years in a row and win two of them with Coach Kerry there by accident. And there's a lot of truth there. How many of you right now listening to this episode, you're still trying to lead with authority? You're still trying to lead with the iron fist. The iron fist doesn't work anymore in life, in business. You can definitely get a couple of wins here and there, but it's not sustainable. How in the heck? I mean, I don't know. You know this. I don't know this, Coach Kerry, but what are the odds of a school and the caliber of what college football is in these years now for them to go to the dance 7 years in a row? Because I just think like the odds are against it, but to do it 7 years in a row and to win two of those, that says a lot. What are the odds of that, Coach K?
Uh, I don't think anybody has ever done it to go 7 years in a row. Okay, and I don't like to say this, but the eighth year, guess what happened? I left and went to University of Tennessee, and the University of Alabama didn't go to the playoffs. Okay, so and working with Coach Saban, he's one of the most brilliant people that I've ever been around. Okay, and he knew that he had to have people around that had strength where he wasn't strong. Okay, and he's really not a relationship type of guy. Okay, so I was that person that built the relationships for him. He told them to do it, and of course he thought he was telling them to do it. They were doing it, but I was getting them to do it. Yes,
Mm.
yes, and
I
this
like that,
generation,
right? So somebody thinks you're telling them to do it, but then you're telling them, but you're the person that got them to do it. I'm getting them to do it.
you're right, and I call that method of building that relationship with them so you can get them to do it. I call that love them to the number two life.
Love
Yeah.
life.
And how do you love them to life? How do you get to build that relationship when you love them to life? Okay. It starts with the same thing. We're going to spell life twice. The first L, open up your ears and listen. They need somebody that's going to listen to them. Yeah, they were frustrated. We had 85 Division One players that were top players in the country in one place. We couldn't play but 22. So those other 63, they were frustrated. They was upset. So I listened to them. Come on, listen. Tell me your problems. Okay. And sometimes they have to do them to say, hey, are you better than the person in front of you? It's like, okay, well, if you're not better than the person in front of you, come on, keep on working. Let's get better. Okay. And do you think you're better than the person in front of you? Okay, well, you need to go down and sit down and have a talk with your position coach. Okay. And see what it is that you're not doing, that you're not playing. Okay. So listen.
Mm.
Okay, and when they're talking now, I figured this out. While they're talking, they're gonna say a whole bunch of crazy stuff. Okay, a whole bunch of crazy stuff. We read all the stuff going to mind. They listen to all the social media, look YouTube. They can learn everything off YouTube, and they think all of those things are facts. Okay, so but you still have to listen. But they got good hearts, so they're gonna eventually say something good and positive. And when they do that, lift them, make them feel good about that positive thing that they said.
Mm.
Yeah, and once you lift them, you're gonna make them feel good about themselves, and they're gonna form a bond with you.
Mm.
Okay, and then they'll be ready to listen.
You know,
Okay,
you've said listen twice with love and then with life. You know, something that came to mind as you said that, Coach Kerry, is that I do a lot of corporate trainings when it comes to communication. And this is kind of what came to me when you said that, right? A lot of people hear, to react, but they don't listen to understand.
That's right.
And what I'm hearing you say is the secret to what you were teaching there in Alabama. It wasn't, you weren't hearing them just to react. No, you were listening them to understand their heart, understand their frustration. And a lot of times we see the word frustration as a bad word. No, like everyone gets frustrated when we're growing and God's maturing us. And we all know, I think of that scripture where it says, right? Who asked the potter, hey, what are you doing to the clay? Nobody says that, but God doesn't need our permission. But sometimes when God has his hands on us, it hurts.
That's right. That's right. And guess what? And he knows how to get our attention. Sometimes he has to put an iron fist down in order for us to get our attention. But when you open up and you hear what is it, because you understand that there's a method, but there's also a mission. Okay, and the method is the way that God gets us to our mission. Uh, so that listening left to make them feel good about each other, about themselves, then they're gonna be ready to listen to you. Okay. And then you can do the first I. You can ask some questions, you can inquire, and you can give some advice, you can inspire.
Mm.
So listen and lift, inquire, inspire. The next is the most important because they got all the answers. And all of them wrong. They got all the answers, all the answers wrong. Because they don't have any personal no experiences to draw from. Because as parents, we screwed them up. We
Yeah.
protected them for everything, gave them everything they needed. They don't understand that process, so they're gonna screw it up. When they screw it up, forgive them and forget it.
Mm.
Yes, don't keep throwing it up in their face. Because if you do, they're gonna shut down on you. You're gonna have to start the process all over again.
Well, what comes to mind is think about what he's saying, ladies and gentlemen. Like we're talking about not Division 3, not Division 2, which are good athletes, but Division 1. So these are the cream of the crop, the best students. So you can imagine. I think I want to put some perspective to this, right? A point of reference is if you have 82 of the top students in the nation at Alabama, there's not even, I mean, how many cities are in our country, right? So think about how many high school programs that they come from. And these are like the top one in their school to say, and they're being catered to, not in a bad way, but right there's a student that right, everybody knows that the quarterback, the running back, all these positions, right? They're the popular kids in high school. They're catered to, like you're saying, and then the mom and dad feed that, which is nothing wrong with that. But now they have a come to Jesus moment, and this isn't what life's going to be like, guys. Like you're going to have this for 4 years, but you go into there now, you're in college, everybody's good like you. Now, when you were a starter and you were crushing it, there was a degree of space this. Now you're in college and the degree of space is this, and only 22 get to play.
Wow.
How hard, or let me ask you this, not how hard, but what new skills within Coach Kerry did you have to learn to really not get him to buy into what you were doing there at Alabama to become a national champion, but what did you learn about yourself? And man, I can do this, and to help them be better young men.
Well, and my previous experiences. Okay, so I was a head coach in a community that was socioeconomic was poor. Okay, the average household income was $12,000. Okay, that's what
Twelve
mom
thousand dollars
$12,000
a year?
a year.
I don't even
Okay,
want to guess how somebody lives on $1,000 a month, but okay.
I mean the neighborhood, the community was so bad that I mean I wouldn't go down the store, the street to the store because I mean you took a chance of something happening to you bad, right? So, and if I felt like if I was able, Coach Saban walked in one day, he said, "How can you get these kids from this community to go to class, pass, okay, do all their work and pass the ACT score?" And I told him, I said, "Listen, Coach, all I know is that they know that I love them, okay, and because that I love them, they don't mind me working them hard. I said, I worked the crap out of them." Okay. And I said, whether or not they're in the classroom, or in the community, at church, over the grandparents' house, there's one thing that they don't want to do, and that's let me down. And so he's like, so you got them to do this through love? I said, yes. He said, when I get an open up, I hire you. Okay, so when you lead with love, that's part of my fabric of who I am. So
Mm.
I just had an opportunity to do it in a different setting. And when I was going there, I had 3 kids to play in Alabama before I went there to work. So it was easy. I was always around the program, and I built relationships with the kids that were already in the program, so they knew who I was. So when I
Yeah.
went there, I was just basically going home, and I was just God had already prepared me for that mission in my life.
Well, let me ask you this. So somebody's listening to this amazing episode and they can't fathom, right? Leading with love, right? Because maybe they had that dictator mom, that dictator dad, that I'm my title's mom, my title's dad, and you got to do what I say. And maybe let's face it, right? There's teachers along the way that kind of have that same attitude. And how did you like learn this? That
Okay,
love was the
so
end. Like how did you like? Because it sounds it, but what if somebody says, "Well, Kerry, like maybe here you go. Maybe somebody says they've never led with love. They have no idea. How does somebody start to lead with love when maybe you've never been loved yourself, Kerry?
well, and Daniel, one day I'll tell you my story, man. And I'm gonna share it with you right now. When I was about 5 years old, 5.5 years old, I uh, I was the president of my kindergarten class. I was a real smart kid. And I can remember my mom and my aunt teaching me my speech. I had to get up in front of the whole kindergarten class, all the parents, and say a speech. And it seemed like it was about 10 minutes long, probably about 30 seconds. Okay. And I remember my mom and aunt teaching me, it's like, oh, you're so smart, Carrie. I love you so much. You're so smart, man. Okay. And I got up in that church and I got up and I said that speech. I got a standing ovation. I remember my mom giving me a big hug, loving me. I love you. And 3, 4 days later, she walked by me like she didn't know who I was. Well, my mom had a nervous breakdown.
Mm.
Hey, so my heart was crushed. At 5 years old, I didn't know how to take that on. How do I learn how to love again when the person that loved me the most, I don't even know who I am? Okay, so I had to first realize who I am. Yes. And I used to ask God, God, why are you punishing me like this? And he told me, Kerry, it ain't punishment, it's preparation. So, but you have to have
Ooh,
some
say that
type of
again. It's not punishment, it's preparation.
preparation.
Boom, baby, let's go. I love that.
But
Mm.
but if you don't have no God in your life, you won't understand it. And so, what I did, I would tell a teacher or anybody who else that want to understand how to lead with love. I'm gonna first gonna ask them, who in here has God not forgiven for something? Who hadn't God have a chance to use his grace and mercy for? Raise your hand if God hadn't used his grace and mercy in your life. Okay. I shouldn't see any hands. So now we have to learn how to do that, be that for the people that God put in our lives. Okay. And we're not trying to change who you are, but we want you to realize you have to start where you are. And I don't think Daniel told you this, but I'm a poet also, Daniel. And so I wrote this poem called "Who Am I?"
Who am
Okay,
I?
yeah, and you have to be honest with yourself. Okay, because you can lie to everybody else, but you lie to yourself, it ain't doing you much good. So who am I? It goes like this: I often sit alone in silence and wonder who I am. Am I who you want me to be, or who God says I am? Can I make the right decisions of what's best for me to do? Do I let you influence me to choose what's best for you? Will I be a blessing and be a vessel for him to use? Or will I be a follower in which the devil will abuse? Will I allow the lessons I've learned to help me pay my way? Or will I listen to my peers and quickly go astray? Will I be planting seeds of hope as I move from here to there? Will I make bad choices that lead to hurt and despair? We all know what to do, but we don't do it every day. But we can't control the consequences when we slip along the way. Who am I? I want to let you know. Am I for real or am I putting on a show? Who am I? Do I really want to know? The more that I live, the more I expect to grow. I'm not a finished product. I've got you by my side. If you want what's best for me, with you, I'll take a ride. Who will I be Should my conscience be my guide? Will I be my own me? Or will I let you help me decide? I'm headed to the top. I got all the tools I need. If I can just stick to God's plan, I can live out my creed. So the first thing is starting to lead with love. You have to understand who you are. Who am I?
Are you an aspiring speaker? Do you have a book that you've been wanting to write for months, maybe even years? Or are you an aspiring podcaster? You want to start that podcast like the Daniel Gomez Inspire Show and don't know where to start? Well, at Daniel Gomez Enterprises, we can help you do all three. We can help you become that paid speaker, share your story to the world, write your book, and get your podcast launched and help you produce it. We'd love to help you. Give us a call at 210-663-5954. That's 210-663-5954. We can help you become that paid speaker, write that book, and launch your podcast. We'd love to hear from you. Give us a call now. Ladies and gentlemen, I think I want you to understand this, what Kerry's talking about. Maybe you're having an identity crisis right now, because I know that a lot of times when students move up and they graduate senior year in high school and they move away, I've coached two moms that come to mind, very, very successful women now, but they really had an identity crisis, Coach Kerry, because for years they got their kids dressed, got their lunch, made sure they were home after football practice, after practice, and that was their identity. They were mom. And all of a sudden their purpose is gone because from one season to the next, now they're in other states, in another city. And what do I do now? I used to wash their clothes. It's 3 o'clock. I used to wait for them to walk through the door. And I think people need to understand that you have to embrace the new identity for the new season that God has for you. And I think so many people get stuck in an identity, Coach Kerry. What did you learn about identities as you're dealing with these different just athletes as you were dealing with them? How did you coach them to do that? Because so many times I think based on what you said, right, you're going to this school that where the demographically the annual income is $12,000 a month. They show up at Alabama, state of the art, right? I mean, one piece of equipment costs $12,000 more than what their house is probably worth. How did you help them shift from not to have an identity crisis along the way? And because this is what happens. You get to a place like Alabama, you see all these championships, and I can guarantee you this happened because we haven't even talked about it, but they have a sense that I don't belong. How did you get them to believe that they belonged?
Well, the good thing about it, Daniel, is that they have a process called recruitment. Okay, in that recruitment period, you build a relationship with those guys that you're recruiting 2-3 years before they get opportunity to come. So you prepare their mind, and when they used to walk in the door, what I used to tell them is, look at all this stuff. This stuff ain't gonna help you not one bit. Okay, it looks pretty. It's here to get your attention. Okay, I said, but what you do with the opportunities that you're going to use when you get here is going to be determined. I said, you're going to go to class because we're going to check you. And if you're not in class, I'm coming to get you to send you to class. I was just telling their parents, I'm waking them up to go to class if they're not in class. Okay. So just know that. And that you're going to get a degree, if you come to the University of Alabama, expect to get a degree. Okay. Because one thing about this game, for everybody that's coached in it, played in it, whatever, it ends. Okay, and we don't know the end date, so we got to prepare for that end date. Okay, whether or not you might get injured the first year, or you're gonna go play in the NFL 10 years. Okay, it's gonna end. So let's get prepared for it. You got a whole lot more life to live after it ends than you're gonna live playing in it. So we built that relationship and tried to get them focused that your focus not on this stuff. Let's focus on you. Okay, let's be the best you can be, and that's what I think I came in. I think I try to do the best job I can of helping make every individual that I come in contact the best you that you could be.
Well, let me ask you this because you're very you have a lot of resolve in you. You've overcome a lot of challenges, and you started with that story from your mom being at 5 years old. What was one of the hardest things you had to really change within yourself or grow or mature, whatever the word you want to kind of grasp what we're talking about. What did you have to change to grow or mature in as you went to Alabama? Like, what's one of the biggest lessons you took away in building that opportunity for these young men to become a seven-time right, seven-time big dancer and two national champions? What's one of the biggest you personally that you had to grow in and mature in?
And my growth has come. I think I've sacrificed a lot of relationships because of, and I think my growth came after I left. Okay. So I made an impact. I was so caught up in what I was doing that I didn't see what I wasn't doing. Okay. And
Mhm.
remember this, my son told me this. Okay. At the age of 18, he'll be 22 this year. And after I left Alabama, he's like, Dad, you know what? 99% of the stuff that you say is true and correct. He said, but your delivery, you got to work on your delivery. And if I had to go back and change something, one thing that I
Wow.
would do to while I was interacting with people, if I had to change one, I go back and tell everybody, I apologize. I didn't mean to tear you down while I was trying to build you up. But I got that from my 17-year-old son. Told me, Dad, everything that you say is true and correct, but you got to work on your delivery. So
How old was
I know.
how old was he
Uh,
when he said this? Was he 17 or closer to 22?
no, he's 17. He's 21 now.
He told you that at 17.
Told me that at 17, 4 years ago.
And what did you grasp from that? What shifted in you when he said that? Because it's it hurts because I've kind of been something I went through something similar like that. And
Uh,
it weren't those words, but it was pretty close.
well, listen here. I felt at first I was hurt, because he was the one that suffered from it the most. Yeah, my son was the one that suffered from it the most. And believe it or not, Daniel, it wasn't until about 2 years after that I was able to build a relationship that I need to, because I listened to him, that loved him to life. That's what God gave me to build a relationship with my son. See, and I can't take credit for any of this stuff. Okay, I said, Lord, please give me what I need in order for me to strengthen my relationship with my son, because I was trying to lead with power and authority, and God told me to love him to life. Okay, love him to life. And that's how we started that. But I think that the most growth that I've had is being able to listen to him, take those words, and try to incorporate it into my life. Because I know that I am trying to help, but if I'm helping you by tearing you down, am I really helping?
Yes, man, that's powerful. Am I trying to help you, but I'm really tearing you down?
But one thing that I always did, okay, that
I love this.
I'm proud of is that I was always, okay. If you communicate with people, you can get them to understand what's going on. Okay, but if you leave them out there and nobody's communicating with them and nobody explaining what's going on, and you leave them to think all these thoughts going through their head, because we are constant thought warfare, man. The devil attacks us through our thoughts.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have to have somebody to channel those thoughts into the right direction. And so I was able to communicate with them so I can channel those thoughts, and we can get them to think in terms of what do I have to do to earn the right to get there. Not because I think I'm the best player, because you can be the best player, but you got to be playing the best. Yeah, my job was to get the best players to play the best. And so
It's a
yeah,
difference, right? It's a whole difference. I mean, because I think anybody can be a one-hit wonder. I talk about I always use this in one of my corporate trainings is because you can be good, right? And you can be one of the best, but it doesn't make a difference. And I think of Bledsoe, right? When the Patriots they went to the big dance twice, nothing. And I always say this that the best thing that ever happened to the Patriots was Bledsoe got hurt
right,
because he had the 200 and something pick on the slide and that nobody was even counting on the sleeper. And he came in and he took him in. He punched him into the Super Bowl to win. And people don't realize that sometimes, right? You can have all the accolades, be rated as the best, but that doesn't make anything. Are you playing your best in life? Are you playing your best in business? Are you playing your best in relationships, in your finances, in the 6 pillars of what I call it. And many people don't realize that, yeah, you got the talent, but are you playing your best every single day? Are you making an effort? And I think most people don't have the cognitive capacity to really do it day in and day out. And that's why people have these waves, right? It's not that business is like that. It's that you're like that.
Well, guess what, Daniel?
What's your perception on that?
Well, I mean, I just think that there's levels to this.
Yes.
Yes, and we expect everybody to be able to get to our level. God don't make everybody the same. Okay, so everybody got their mission, and our mission is to get other people to get there. Okay,
Mm.
but you figured out the way while you are on your way up to get there before they do. So that's what makes you special. Is that okay? I understand that God sent me to help these other people, but he didn't mean for me not to have. Yeah. And that was where I was caught up at. I just felt like I was here to serve other people and was never considerate about. I mean, just feeling that. I mean, I'm here to serve. I'm not good enough for those blessings that God. Yeah. God want me to excel, achieve, just like He wants to have me to love on and inspire and encourage these others to do that. So it's levels to this thing, Daniel. I mean, everybody ain't not at that level, and what we have to do is learn how to be patient. Okay, learn how to be patient while you're encouraging others, because they're not going to see the picture that you see. And
But
that's another point. That's another poem that's in that book. It's called Patience. It
you
says
know,
patience makes.
but I want to bring something to the surface because you said something. You said when you walked in there, you asked them to raise their hand who hasn't forgiven. And I think the audience needs to understand this. If you have not forgiven, you're not gonna love the way you need to love.
Ooh, hey.
If you have not forgiven, you made the comment earlier when you were talking about going to the classroom, and right, but if you have not forgiven yourself, it's hard to love other people. If you have not forgiven, you're never going to be able to love the way Coach Kerry's saying you. So the question I have for you, ladies and gentlemen, right now, you're watching us right now, you're listening to us all over the world on iTunes, on Spotify. Who do you need to forgive that you may love like Coach Kerry's talking about? Is it you? Is it yourself? And maybe you're saying this is a mistake that I made, Kerry, because one thing that I realize is as God takes us higher, He's always going to go deeper in us. And as my wife was diagnosed with breast cancer in 2017, I was crying because I had a lot of shame, a lot of guilt. And then a year later, things were getting better, but now God was taking me to another level, like you're saying, because there's levels to this, which I truly agree with you on that. He's getting ready to take Daniel Gomez Inspires to another level. Now he has to go deeper. And I remember one day we were just watching TV in bed and I just started crying. And my wife's like, "What's wrong?" I was like, "I don't know." And these thoughts started surfacing like, man, I was a failure as a leader. But the thing is this, ladies and gentlemen, what I want you to understand, I had already forgiven myself a year before, but it was just a deeper forgiveness. So that being said, maybe you're listening to me and Kerry because you gave yourself a year ago, you forgave yourself 2 years ago, but now you've done the work through that level that you were at. Now God's getting ready to level you up and have you have a breakthrough. But you have to forgive yourself even deeper. Because what I realized, Kerry, we have so much junk in us, so much trash that we've suppressed since we were 3, 4, 5, 12, whatever it was. Like that stuff doesn't, it stays with you if you don't deal with it. And you're listening to this, like Kerry, like this is great. It sounds surface level to some people listening to this because you can't comprehend the love that Kerry's trying to talk about, but you need to forgive, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know who needs to hear that, but you need to forgive at a deeper, deeper level to be able to love the way Kerry's talking about right now.
And Daniel, it's crazy that you say that. And I think what propelled me to love this way is because it was something that I didn't think I had when I was growing up. See, after that happened with my mom,
Yeah.
I played football baseball, basketball. I found rides with people in the community, my aunt and uncle would take, but I never had anybody to come watch me play from 6 years old to 18 years old. And
Wow.
I knew that that was a tough situation. So I wanted to make sure that there wasn't anybody that I ever cared about or loved felt that way.
Because you knew the
They,
feeling.
I knew the feeling. Okay, but I did have a village. You know, my grandparents, they did what they could. They were old, they adopted me, and of course, I appreciate them. They made sure I had everything that I needed to have a chance to be successful in life. Uh, they paid for me to go play, and my grandparents couldn't drive, couldn't read or write, so they made sure that I was fed, I had the clothes that I needed, and
Yeah.
that I had that the person that I was riding with was safe. So so they provided the things I need, but the stuff that I knew that I was missing out on, that I look around and see the other kids' parents there and watching them play, and I was like, if I'm ever a parent, okay, put in a role to be a parent, I'm gonna make sure I support mine.
Yeah. It's those
Yeah,
little memories. I think I just
so much stuff we have
yes,
to unpack.
but that's true because I remember I have a vision sometimes of my dad just being there when I was in second grade softball, and my dad was there at third base. He would always park his truck at third base because the fence line was there. And I just got back from Missouri because we had a big event over there. I flew back this past Saturday, and I got home a little bit earlier than what I thought. So my grandson was here. They had just had a t-ball tournament, and we're out there in the pool playing him around. And then he goes, "Grandpa, you gonna go to my game tomorrow?" He had a game Sunday morning at 8. I was tired. I really was. And I said, "I'll tell you what, if you hit a home run, I'm gonna show up. You gotta hit me. If I show up, you can hit a home run." He goes, "Yes, Grandpa." And just seeing his smile when me and my wife walked up, Marty walked up, which you've met,
Mhm.
he just runs to my wife and gives her a big hug, and he's just excited. And guess what? By God's grace, he hit a home run. And I was like,
Mm,
"Andres, go, 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 go." And I
mm,
think my throat's still sore from that. But the thing is, this is that like that gives a child, that gives a kid more validation than any new iPhone, than any new toy, than any video game. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to hear this, parents. The fact that you're not yelling at them, the fact that you show up and just support them, whether they win or lose. And yes, you want every kid to win. And it's hard because he was on a losing team. Now, uh, thank God he's on a winning team. But just, he's going to have that memory of grandpa sitting at the edge of his seat, go, go, go. And just when he comes down, giving the high fives, like that gives a child, a little girl or a little boy, confidence that's never going to be taken away. And that's what you're talking about. That's love, man. That's because I was tired. If I was the old selfish Daniel, I would have stayed in bed and said, "Marty, go by yourself." I'm being honest. I mean, I'm being real, right?
right, that's right. Well, and Daniel, that's what I tried to be. I mean, that's what I was for my son. Okay, I make sure, but all the other people, kids that I work with, because I had a lot of fatherless kids when I was in that community. You know what I'm saying? So I want to be that father figure for them, whatever it was that they needed. And yeah, Daniel, we out of that school that wasn't nothing good supposed to come out of. I've got a pharmacist, I got a dentist, I got a lawyer. Yes, I got a whole bunch of kids that are making a living, that making over six figures. Were from this project called Happy Hills. Okay, most of my guys lived in the a housing project called Happy Hills, where didn't nothing good come from. Okay, so it was man, I just showed up every day and gave them my best, and loved them at a high level. And matter of fact, I remember when Coach Saban offered me a job. I I was kind of hesitant, man. I didn't know how to leave him. And so I went and told my principal, and I told him not to tell the kids. Of course, he ran his mouth, and so I said, "Let me have this meeting to tell these guys that I'm getting ready to leave." And before I got 5 words out of my mouth, there wasn't a dry eye in the house. I mean, I literally, I mean, it was a sad scene. Whew. Just still to this day, it's still because they knew how it felt to truly be loved.
And I think what I want the audience to take away from this amazing episode as we're coming towards the end of it is that in these days right now, ladies and gentlemen, I think Coach Kerry is validating that it's okay to love hard. I truly believe, Coach Kerry, that because you loved hard, you won 2 national championships. That's what I hear through what we're talking about. And people wondering, why am I not winning in life? Why am I not winning in my marriage? Why am I not winning with my children? Why am I not just winning in business? Is because you're not allowing yourself to love hard. You're going to fall on your face many times. You're going to get hurt. It's part of the journey. But just understand that Jesus loved hard, and without Judas, we would have never had the example of how to love someone even though they betrayed you. And maybe you've been backstabbed by a friend, a girlfriend. I want to encourage you by the words of Coach Kerry, love hard. Coach, as we're getting ready to land this plane, I want you to, there's somebody out there that needs a word of encouragement. Take a minute and speak a poem or speak a word of encouragement over this amazing audience worldwide, and share some words of encouragement. Somebody, maybe they've been hurt and they've been betrayed. Talk to that human being right now, please, brother.
Well, I know that sometimes we want things to happen overnight, and we can't. Whatever's been done, we can't undo it overnight. Okay, and it wasn't done overnight. So what you have to do is allow yourself to, first of all, like you said, forgive yourself. But we're gonna build this thing on respect. Okay, and you got to realize that you got to have respect for yourself, respect for your peers, and respect for the process. Okay, and if you do that and have just a little patience, and that's what we're going to share with them today, patience. Okay, search yourself and have a little patience. Patience, they say, is a virtue. If you have it, it's good, don't you know? But if you don't have this special quality, then you still have room left to grow. You may need some time to get better. You may need to strengthen your mind. You may need some time to gain knowledge. You may need to learn how to grind. But once you have a good dose of patience, you'll find out life's not so bad. You'll respect all of the hard work and receive a joy like you never had. So, Lord, please give me some patience. Help me be the best I can be. If you just grant me some patience, I can be all that's expected of me. Appreciate the rules of the process, a plan that'll prepare you to win. Make your dreams a beautiful reality. Let patience become your best friend. Expectations won't be such a headache. Ambition won't get in the way. Disappointments won't occur quite as often. God grant me some patience today. Patience, my brother.
Mm. Brother, man, we might need to come back for part 2 because we just got started. It's already been in almost an hour. I'm like, damn, where did this hour go? What is a quote or a scripture that you rely on, my brother Kerry? A quote or a scripture that you rely on in times of adversity?
Well, this is what I know, that God put me in a leadership role. Okay, and I want you to know that as a leader, okay, great leadership produces more great leaders. So that's what our job is. That's what our duty is, Daniel, is not to just lead. We got to produce more great leaders so we can sustain. Okay, and now my favorite, okay, because I thought I was being attacked for a long time, I had to realize that no weapon formed against me shall prosper. Not one.
Amen. And
So
and maybe
no,
some of you are watching and you're saying, "Is he really the true Coach Kerry Stevenson?" Coach, do me a favor, show those rings you got in front of you there, because I want them to see Coach Kerry Stevenson's the real deal, national champion,
yeah,
Tennessee, Alabama, you name it, ring after ring after ring.
And then
Yeah,
Janet,
he's
hey,
a
they
true
don't know
champ.
that they can go purchase this magazine somewhere, Daniel. Millennium Magazine. You see right there on the cover of that magazine. He's a real person, man. He's a real person.
How does somebody connect with you, Coach Kerry, if they wanna connect with you? What's the best way to get a hold of Coach Kerry?
The best way to get a hold of Coach Kerry is go to thekerrystevenson.com. And that's our website. And yeah, leave us a message, and we'll definitely get back in touch with you. And we love to come in and mentor with you, or even just come and do some motivational speaking. We do some professional development. We want to do it the way God wants us to do it. So we try to get him to help us cater it to whatever it is that he wants out of it.
What a powerful episode. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll have all of Coach Kerry's contact information in our show notes. So you can definitely connect with them. And think about this. Go back and really listen to this episode again. So much of what we listen to, we forget it within, right? You listen to this episode, you forget half of it within 3 to 4 weeks. And go back and listen to it again. Study your notes that you took down, that you wrote down. And think about, where in your life do you need to forgive somebody? Where in your life do you need to have more patience? And where do you need to allow yourself to love hard? You can't win sometimes without loving hard. And yes, you're going to get hurt. I've been hurt. Coach Kerry's been hurt. But take the words of a national champion, two-time national champion, Alabama coach Kerry Stevenson. Coach, thank you so much. And ladies and gentlemen, if you're stuck in life, if you're stuck in business, reach out to us. Go to danielgomezglobal.com. That's danielgomezglobal.com. Send us a message there through our website, or send me an email directly at info@danielgomezglobal.com. That's info at danielgomezglobal.com, and give the word discovery session, and we're going to give you a complimentary discovery session to pour back into your life, into your business. And if you've been thinking about sharing your story on stage or by publishing a book, reach out to us. We want to get connected with you. Call us at 210-663-5954. That's 210-663-5954. We want to help you become that paid speaker. We want to help you get your book published and become that expert in your field. Until next week, with another amazing guest like Coach Kerry here on the Daniel Gomez Inspire Show. We'll see you then, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
Thank you, brother.
This is Daniel Gomez Inspires, and thank you for listening to our show today. Please share this episode with a friend, leave us a review, and subscribe to our show. And for listening to our show today, I want to give you a free gift. I want to invite you to our Millionaire Mind community. Text the word millionaire, that's millionaire, to 210-942-5059. Yes, join our community today and receive millionaire affirmations, inspirational quotes on a weekly basis. That's 210-942-5059. Text the word millionaire today and join our community. And once again, thank you for listening to our show.